With a win in Anaheim yesterday, the Seattle Mariners and George Kirby avoided a second consecutive series sweep, halting their losing streak to just 5 games. And after their opponent drew blood from George Kirby in Seattle this last week, George Kirby was out for blood himself. As we know, George Kirby was hit in the face during his outing against Baltimore in his final out of his appearance. Thankfully, he was able to deflect the ball somewhat. It still hit him in the face, drew blood. And up to that point, George Kirby hadn't been himself since coming off of the injury list. He had 3 starts up to that point. He had an 8.56 ERA in his first 3 starts of the season, going 13 2/3 innings, allowing 13 earned runs over those innings. And then yesterday in Anaheim, he had the best start of his career. He finished going 7 innings with 14 strikeouts, just 2 hits allowed, 2 earned runs, which came off of Taylor Ward's 2-run home run. But aside from that, he was absolutely dominant. He was sitting 96, 97, pinpoint accuracy. He was expanding the zone with his slider when he needed to. And this is the George Kirby we know and love. Also during the start in Anaheim, Kirby surpassed a career mark of 500 strikeouts. He currently has 509 strikeouts through 93 career starts. Having a fully healthy and dialed in George Kirby is a complete difference maker in this rotation. The rotation has not been the bright spot so far this year with a 4.02 ERA as a whole. The biggest standout in the rotation so far this year has been none other than Bryan Woo. Bryan Woo has now had 12 consecutive outings to start the season, going 6 innings or more. And when looking at Mariners history, there have only been a handful of guys that have done what he's done this year. Randy Johnson had 20 consecutive outings of this kind back in 1993. Mark Langston was 17 back in 1987. Langston again with 14 back in 1988. Cliff Lee with 13 back in 2010. And then Eric Hansen and now Bryan Woo are tied. Eric Hansen had his stretch back in 1993. One more outing of this kind and Bryan Woo will tie Cliff Lee with 13 consecutive outings. And digging deeper into his stats, what Bryan Woo is doing to start his career is among the best in franchise history. Woo now has 52 games under his belt, but in his first 51 career games, Woo ranks first in base runners allowed with 299, second in ERA with a 3.29, fewest hits allowed with 229, and runs allowed with 107. He's third in fewest walks, fourth in winning percentage, and 7th in strikeouts. This is any Mariners pitcher with a minimum of 250 innings pitched. Woo also joins teammate George Kirby as one of 2 pitchers in franchise history in their first 51 games to record more than 250 strikeouts and 55 or less walks. Woo is also one of 3 pitchers in franchise history with at least 60 strikeouts and 10 or less walks in their first 11 starts of the season, joining Marco Gonzalez back in 2020 and Cliff Lee back in 2010. And again, Woo is just one of 7 pitchers in franchise history to throw 6 innings in their first 11 starts of the season, and he has also thrown at least 6 innings in 20 of his last 23 starts. And while we're talking about the positives of the rotation so far this year, I have to talk about Logan Evans. Logan Evans made 6 starts in Seattle while both Bryce Miller and Logan Gilbert were on the shelf. And on May 27th versus the Nationals, he was absolutely dominant, going 8 innings on 88 pitches, allowing just 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. And if it wasn't for a lengthy bottom of the 8th inning for the Mariners, Logan Evans would have been back out there in the 9th with a potential opportunity for a Maddox. A Maddox, of course, is a complete game on less than 100 pitches. But those 8 innings would have to do, and he went 5 or more innings pitched in 6 straight starts to begin his career. And we know how good this young core of the rotation is. Well, Logan Evans, through his 6 starts to begin his career, has the lowest ERA of any of these 5 names. His 2.83 ERA in 35 innings pitched is the lowest ERA out of Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, Bryce Miller, and Bryan Woo through their first 6 career starts. And he is only behind Bryce Miller in innings pitched over those first 6 starts. Logan Evans in his time in Seattle shows why he deserves the opportunity to keep pitching in Seattle. And in my opinion, I think it makes sense for Logan Evans to take that spot in Seattle to replace Bryce Miller while he gets a hold of things. Bryce Miller has had 10 starts this year and over 48 2/3 innings. He's logged a 5.73 ERA, a 1.521 WHIP, a 7.2 strikeouts per 9, and a 4.3 walks per 9. His walks per 9 innings are double what they were last year, and his ERA is double as well. He just hasn't been able to get a feel of it so far this year, and the Mariners should take their time with Bryce Miller, let him figure things out, let him gradually work into things in AAA, while Logan Evans clearly is performing right now. There is no more time to waste in this season, now 64 games into it. And of course, we have to highlight Senor Smoke, Andres Munoz. He logged his 18th save on the season in yesterday's game, and in 27 appearances this season, he is 2-0 with the 1.35 ERA, 10 walks, 2 of which were intentional, 35 strikeouts, and a 0.86 WHIP. Opponents are hitting just 144 off of him. He is currently tied for third in saves in all of baseball. And you have to remember, he started this year with 24 consecutive outings not allowing an earned run. He was the April AL reliever of the month and set the Mariners record for most innings pitched, 23.2, to begin a season without allowing an earned run. This guy is unreal. Now talking some big dumper, this video could be all about Cal Raleigh himself. Yesterday in game 64 of the season, he got his first full day off, but so far this season, in 63 games played, he's logged 26 home runs, 53 RBIs with a 272 batting average, a 380 on base, a 655 slug, which is a 1.035 OPS. He has an OPS plus on the year of 198, which via Fangraphs weighted runs created plus is a 191, meaning his bat has been 91% above the league average this year. And Cal is having an absolutely historic season, especially for a catcher. He's the first catcher in MLB history to reach 20 home runs before the end of May. He is the 5th fastest player in MLB history to reach 25 home runs, having done so on June 7th. And also on June 7th, he hit his 26th home run as well. And take a look at the rest of this list. There's Barry Bonds in 2001, Mark McGwire in 98, Albert Pujols in 2006, Ken Griffey Jr. in 1997, Barry Bonds again in 2000, and then Cal Raleigh in 2025 doing this al natural. This dump truck has no aftermarket enhancements. He is currently on pace for 67 home runs this season, and his 2-home run game on Saturday marks his 15th career multi-home run game and his 5th of the 2025 season. Cal is tied with Alex Rodriguez for the 4th most multi-home run games in Mariners history, trailing Ken Griffey Jr., who has 40, Edgar Martinez, who has 22, and Jay Buhner, who has 22 as well. Cal is tied with Shohei Ohtani for the 3rd most multi-homer games since 2022, trailing only Kyle Schwarber of the Phillies with 18 and Aaron Judge of the Yankees with 26. And this is a post by Opta Stats back on May 27th. Already in 2025, the Mariners' Cal Raleigh has homered from both sides of the plate in a game on April 16th, homered twice from the left side in a game on May 2nd, and then homered twice from the right side of the plate on May 27th. He's, of course, the first catcher in MLB history to do all 3 in the same year. And it's not just his power at the plate this year. Cal Raleigh's 7 stolen bases this season are tied for a franchise record by a catcher with Bob Kearney in 1984 and current manager Dan Wilson in 1997. Cal Raleigh's MLB leading 26 home runs are the most by a catcher before the start of July, ranking ahead of Hall of Famer Johnny Bench, who had 25 by the end of June in 1970. And by the way, Cal Raleigh didn't reach 26 home runs last season until the Mariners' 119th game of the season. Currently, Cal Raleigh trails only Johnny Bench in home runs before the All-Star break, who had 28 back in 1970. And there have only been 3 seasons where a catcher has hit 20-plus home runs and stolen at least 5 bases before the All-Star break, with Cal having 2 of those seasons. Cal achieved that feat last season when he had 20 home runs, 5 stolen bases at the All-Star break, and also Hall of Famer Carlton Fisk did so in 1985. And Cal is the only catcher in MLB history with 25-plus home runs and 5 stolen bases in the first half. Cal Raleigh on the season is second to only Aaron Judge in weighted runs created plus. Judge has 246, Cal Raleigh again 191, and then behind Cal Raleigh is Shohei Ohtani with a 178. Cal is also second in all of baseball in Fangraphs wins above replacement. And one of the most surprising stats of Cal Raleigh's season so far is how much he has improved as a right-handed hitter. For example, last season, Cal Raleigh finished with a 183 batting average, just a 251 on base, a 695 OPS versus left-handed pitching. Last season, he finished with 34 home runs. He did have 13 from the right side, but he was not making much contact outside of that. And from the left side of the plate last year, he finished with a 234 average, a 335 on base, 768 OPS with 21 home runs. However, this year, his batting average as a right-handed hitter has gone up 110 points. He is batting 299 with a 341 on base, a 1003 OPS, with 8 home runs from the right side of the plate. In 2024, he had about a fourth of the at-bats from the right side as he did from the left side. And this season, he's batting 299 with a 341 on base, a 662 slug, which is a 1003 OPS from the right side. 8 of his 26 home runs are from the right side. And he has a little under a half of the plate appearances from the right side as from the left this year. As a lefty, he's batting 258 with a 396 on base and a 1048 OPS. And while don't get me wrong, he's tearing it up from both sides of the plate, but the jump we've seen from the right side has been incredible. For all of the biased media out there not even having Cal Raleigh in the top 5, top 10 heading into the season, start paying attention to the guys in the PNW. Now, while most of what I've covered up to this point has been sunshine and rainbows, the Mariners have not been hot over the past 18 games. They were one of the best offenses in baseball through April. Since then, and specifically we're going to look at May 20th and onward, they have been back to league average or a little below. After May 20th, they were 28-20, 3.5 games up on the Astros, which was their largest divisional lead of the year. Since then, they have gone 6-12. They are 4-10 their last 14. They are 1-5 their last 6. Since May 20th, they have a team 99 weighted runs created plus, which is just below league average, but with the Mariners pitching like they have been, they need more than an average offense. The Mariners pitching since May 20th is 26th in baseball in ERA with a 4.56. They're 28th in FIP, fielding independent pitching with a 4.6. They are 29th in wins above replacement with a 0.4. They are 22nd in strikeouts per 9 with 7.88. They are 28th in home runs per 9 with 1.52 home runs allowed per 9 innings. However, they have excelled at walks per 9 with 2.48. The Mariners offense since this stretch has just 5 players with a weighted runs created plus of above league average, with Cal since May 20th with a 267 weighted runs created plus, which leads all of baseball during that stretch. Miles Mastroboni has a 216 weighted runs created plus, JP Crawford with a 151, Donovan Solano with a 137, and Julio with a 115. Jorge Polanco since May 20th has a -1 weighted runs created plus. Again, league average is 100. That is over 16 games, 55 plate appearances for Jorge. Ben Williamson during that stretch is at a 95, Randy Arozarena is at a 77, Leody Taveras a 50, Rowdy Tellez of 48, Dylan Moore at a 27, Mitch Garver at an 8, and Cole Young at a 4 weighted runs created plus from May 20th onward. As a team, they are 17th in batting average during that span with a 241, 22nd in on base with a 303. They are not walking as much as they were in the past with a 6.9% walk rate, which is 26th in baseball during that stretch. They're striking out 24.3% of the time, which is 23rd in baseball. They are still stealing bags at 18, which is 6th, and they are 14th in home runs during that stretch with 20 home runs. On the season as a whole, the Mariners have 8 players with a weighted runs created plus of 100 or above, league average or above: Cal Raleigh, JP Crawford, Jorge Polanco, Leo Rivas, Dylan Moore, Julio Rodriguez, Randy Arozarena, and Luke Raley. Rowdy Tellez, Miles Mastroboni, Mitch Garver, Ben Williamson, Leody Taveras, Donovan Solano, and Cole Young are all below that. Leody Taveras was at a 32 weighted runs created plus on the year, although he was just DFA'd and Dominic Canzone has been recalled from Tacoma. The Mariners' schedule does not let up moving forward. They are heading to Arizona tonight to play 3 games at the Diamondbacks. They will then head home to Seattle with a 3-game series against the Guardians and then 3-game series versus the Red Sox. They're then back out on the road for a 10-game road trip at the Cubs, at the Twins, and at the Rangers, after which it'll be the trade deadline before we know it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Couch GM for more content like this. Share this video with a fellow Mariners fan, and we'll see you in the next one.